This is my presentation on resilience in New Orleans as a result of Hurricane Katrina by me, Tanner Bice. Now for some context. Hurricane Katrina was a Category 5 hurricane that hit New Orleans in August of 2005. It killed over 1,800 people and is the costliest hurricane in United States history, according to worldvision.org. Resilience is a term that can be defined in many ways. One of these ways, as defined by Kendra Cherry, an author and educator, is that it is an ability to handle life setbacks and an overall representation of adaptability. She also writes about community resilience, a specific type of resilience that was shown by the people of New Orleans. It is the ability of groups to recover from difficult situations and people working to solve problems that affect both the individual and the group. All of this information has led me to my thesis that in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, resilience has helped the people of New Orleans to become better as a community and to regrow. There are three main ways that resilience has helped the people of New Orleans to become better after Hurricane Katrina. These are by their strong community and support of each other, by their rebuilding efforts with homes, businesses, infrastructure, and more, and by their working hard to preserve their very unique culture. First, within their community, they have supported each other through all of the hardship. Through this, they have shown community resilience. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services described it as having a socially connected community and having accessible health systems that are able to withstand disaster and foster community recovery. Also, Anita Chandra, a professor, described some of the ways that the people of New Orleans specifically show community resilience. She described it as fostering neighbor-to-neighbor ties, improving risk communication, and encouraging multi-sector partnerships between governments, businesses, and community organizations. The people of New Orleans have also shown resilience after Hurricane Katrina by their regrowth of the city. After the storm, many homes, businesses, lots of infrastructure, and many more things were destroyed. Because of this, they had to come together to rebuild the city. One of the main ways this was possible was by the many people and organizations that came from all over the world to help these rebuilding efforts. Amy Wu, the president of Brookings Institute, wrote that, quote, "Since the storm, an outpouring of support and assistance has flowed to New Orleans. Major philanthropies, national nonprofits, and faith-based organizations, businesses, and experts of all kinds have individually and in partnership come to help guide and assist the economic recovery of the city," end quote. One example of this is the organization Habitat for Humanity, which played a major role in the recovery of New Orleans. Nicolette Santos, the federal program leader at the Energy Foundation, wrote about it. She wrote that, quote, "Not only does Habitat for Humanity play a crucial role in the New Orleans area, but many nonprofit organizations have also sprung up over the years to try and rebuild its communities." And as you can see with this image, it shows on the top New Orleans just after the hurricane, when all of these buildings were left destroyed and underwater, but then 10 years later they had been rebuilt. The last way that resilience has helped the people of New Orleans to become better after Hurricane Katrina is by their dedication to preserving their culture when faced with adversity. Helen Taylor, a researcher at Cambridge University, talks about it. She wrote that, quote, "New Orleans' history is one of destruction and rebuilding, climatic disaster, and haphazard reconstruction. But there is a strong commitment by its citizens and internationally celebrated musicians to keep the city alive. And the global reputation and power of its music have attracted powerful advocates and cheerleaders," end quote. Later, she also talks about the history and entertainment of New Orleans that are held onto dearly by its citizens. The counterclaim to this argument is that nothing good has come as a result of Hurricane Katrina. The main reason people think this way is because of the many deaths and very high costs. Met Office, the United Kingdom's national weather program, summarizes these things. Quote, 1,500 deaths in the states of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Florida, the $300 billion cost, the thousands of homes and businesses destroyed, and the thousands of jobs lost, end quote. Katrina is the costliest hurricane in U.S. history, so that is one of the major reasons why people think this way. Although the many deaths and high costs are very bad things that came as a result of the hurricane, that claim is false, because good has come from it. Judith Rodin, the president of the Rockefeller Foundation, talked about the ways New Orleans has improved after Hurricane Katrina, saying, quote, "New Orleans has transformed its public education system, diversified its economy, and reimagined its neighborhoods with transformative results," end quote. She also said that this coming back better than this traumatic disaster is called a resilience dividend, in which benefits pay off in good times while reducing vulnerability in the bad times. In conclusion, the resilience shown by the people of New Orleans has been nothing short of outstanding. Despite the many hardships they have encountered, they have come together in support of each other and to improve their communities. And through all this resilience, improvements have been made in their school systems, economy, and neighborhoods. Even though Hurricane Katrina was a disastrous event, the people of New Orleans have shown that they can be resilient and create some good out of a bad situation. Thank you.
Terrific, Tanner. I've got 2 questions for you, then we'll wrap this up. So before you started on this topic, you gathered some preliminary sort of information after the stimulus material. What was that information that you gathered, and how did it help you to come up with your research question?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. So the preliminary information you gathered sort of after you read the stimulus, how did that help you come up with your research question?
Okay, so I read, there was a lot about resilience, and so I definitely wanted to make my research question about a lot of the stick it around resilience. And I had gone through a lot of different theses about resilience, but in the end, after reading all of them, I decided to do it about New Orleans because the people have been through so much and they've stayed resilient through it all.
Terrific. And then as a follow-up to that, what additional questions emerged from your research? Like if you were to start over again, what might you start with now that you've learned everything you've learned?
One of the things that definitely showed up and was what were the specific things that were good that came out of it, which I wish I'd spent a lot more time doing that, because I felt like there was a lot of information that I saw that I wasn't going to use at first about the specific things that were good as a result of Hurricane Katrina.
Fantastic.